Coming to you this year, we're going to bring you on a new adventure. The Clam Outdoors family is going to be taking you across the country to meet with our pros and chase down some of the coolest fishing opportunities in your area. Not only will we show you some of the best fishing stories, but we're going to show you some of the most educational tips and tactics to help you catch more fish in your region. From soft to hard water, from muskies to bass to pike to walleyes to panfish, you name it, our pros are going to be chasing them down. So follow along this entire year as we take you to the bite. Heading to the lake for the first episode of The Bite. I'm super excited about this series. We got such a breadth of pro staff across the entire country. It's time to tell their story. It's time to chase some of these bites. First, we're heading to Lake Minnetonka here in springtime, Minnesota. If you're not fishing crappies in Minnesota in the spring, you're definitely missing out. Great time of year to get the family out, get your friends out, get people on the water chasing fish, and the bite is generally pretty good. You get a warm day, the fish turn on. Of course, we got the 3 coldest days of the spring, but hey, you can't choose the weather. We're going to get out there and chase some fish. You know, one thing I love about this, and we're going to meet with our marketing team here today, and they all have a story to tell. I think it's so fun. You know, we all come from different walks of life. You know, myself, you know, I started guiding. I guided for 15 years before I took the job at Clam Outdoors, and spent some time working retail and all that stuff, fishing tournaments. Went to Mankato State, was down in Mankato. It wasn't an obsession, it was a possession. I was possessed with the sport of fishing. And about 9 years back, I took a job for Clam, where I run all the pro staff, get to work with some of these guys and gals you're gonna see throughout this entire YouTube series on The Bite. We're gonna head over to Maxwell Bay here, get the boat launched, chase down some slabs, and hopefully come back to you with a bunch of fish. See you in a bit. We got to our first spot. You can see we're not being beat up by the wind. It's not too bad today. We're fishing this northwest corner of this bay where the sun beats it down, because in the springtime that's what warms up the fastest. And we're looking for scattered milfoil clumps, and we're just fishing about 3 feet down, hair jigs, targeting these crappies. So, you know, water temperature, a lot of it's temperature driven this time of year. Find the warmest water, find the fish. Good one. Boat flipping just like bass. Here's a good one. Metro area crapperoonie. Look how beautiful that is. About 10-incher, but that's what we're doing here on Minnetonka, is chasing crappies. You know, you don't always catch big ones, but you catch some fun ones, and it's good action. And if you want to eat some fish, tough to beat out of this cold water. So there's what we're targeting there. Beautiful metro area finest. Bye, buddy. Flip them into the boat. Now, if I hold them closer to the camera, the rumor is they look bigger. Bye, dude. We got the marketing team from Clam here, which also Clam, Blackfish, all terrain, a lot of different hats. But we got the entire marketing team. We got Addie Hansen and Brian Lindbergh and Tom Hain and Drew Aspinwall. So we're all out here enjoying a day of crappie fishing here on Minnetonka, and that's the beauty of springtime pan fishing, is they're plentiful, the action's generally pretty good, and it doesn't matter if you're 5 or 95, you can get out here and have some fun.
All right, Addie, how do you get started with Clam? I started at Clam back in 2013, right out of high school. Actually, my first project that I started and why I started the company was actually changing zipper pulls on hub shelters. One summer we had to change a bunch of zipper pulls, so that's what I was doing for a full summer. And from there, I just started working different events. Minnesota State Fair, took on to like basically leading the state fair and then other events. And after I graduated college at the University of Minnesota, stayed on with the marketing team, and now I'm marketing manager and helping this team. I'm most excited for the bite, just doing the education piece. The viewers will be able to learn something from each of the pros that we travel or film with each month. And each month is going to be a different bite, so you'll be able to learn something each month from someone else at a different location, and hopefully you'll go out and chase the bite as well.
Come on. Another one bites the dust, chowing on that hair jig. No bait. Fills the hand. Good size if you're looking for dinner. That's what you can expect in the metro. That's what we're catching right now. And some smaller ones. Don't kid yourself. Oh, that thing crushed it.
Touch with Adam and
Beauty of spring fishing. You never know what you're going to catch. It's not just crappies. Everything comes into the shallow water. There's a big lump-headed bluegill. Beautiful fish. Crappies, bluegills, bass. We've seen some walleyes cruising around the shallow water this time of year. Everything kind of gravitates towards the warmest water of the lake. And like I said, that bobber goes down, you just set the hook and reel it in. Give Addie a little different approach. See if she catches one right away. And then you can get mad at me because I didn't give you the right rod.
Are you gonna catch one now?
I sure hope so. Yeah, I think so.
This one?
First cast with that new setup. Here we go.
He just didn't want you to beat him, did he?
No, exactly. Let him go back.
Alright guys, just caught this crappie. Adam just hopped over here to take some pictures of it, but my name is Tom. I work at Clam Outdoors. I'm the event, fleet, and maintenance coordinator. So I do a lot with shows, take care of all the boats, all the trailers, that type of stuff. Yeah, so the bite, looking forward to seeing, just following the bite around, catching big fish, seeing all of our pros, doing all that stuff. So yeah, looking forward to it. Let's get this guy back, some metro crappies, throw him back and catch some more. There he goes.
Ooh. Whoa. Oh, barely made it. Might rival Tom's. That's my best of the day there. Nothing special, but solid compared to what we've been fishing for. Metro crappie. Get it back. My name is Drew Aspinwall, Clam marketing team. Digital marketing assistant is my title, and do a lot of website stuff, social media. Lucky enough to go fishing a lot. Adam was giving me some crap about that, but it's fun. I don't know. We kind of all do a lot of things here at Clam. I mean, when we're in the warehouse, I mean, I'll give Tom a hand. If Brian needs a hand with something with the art, jump in there. Addie needs help a lot of times with website stuff, just assisting that. But yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to come out here metro fishing early spring, right there, steal your girlfriend's crappie rod, leave the tube from last year on there, go catch yourself a crappie. For the bite here at Clam, I'm probably most excited about seeing our pros catch a lot of fish, but also seeing them catch fish on a relevant basis. So if we film a show, let's say the third week of the month, you know that the next month right away, first Tuesday of the month, you can see that show go down live on our YouTube page. Then go try that pattern wherever you're fishing. So even if you're not by a lake or river that these pros are at, you can apply that pattern to wherever you're from and try to catch a fish just like you saw in the bite. Hey, I walleye fish, man. Oh, see, I thought I had one. I can never tell. Bobber fishing though. These guys are they're killing me on the bobbers. Look at Drew's got another one on the bobber.
If you want one, man.
It's nice to have clip on one. So gotta have a bobber, I guess. I'm fishing Drew's stuff.
Are you just refusing to put one on?
Yeah, I'm pretty stubborn. I'm the old guy in the marketing group, you know, so I'm kind of hard to, you know, I'm stuck in my ways, I guess. I don't know. At least the sun's finally coming out. It's like 40 degrees out. It's cold. But you know what? I'm going to catch the biggest fish of the day with no bobber. Well, so yeah, so I've been with Clam for about, I don't know, 6 years now, it seems like. Fishing background, in fisherman, FLW. I've been in the industry for 20-some years. We've been doing some really cool stuff at Clam, and like the new bite show. I mean, it's gonna be kind of unique in the fact that it's kind of off the cuff. It's just, you know, some of our pros out just going out and doing their thing, and kind of getting a little insight to, I don't know, just the way those guys do things. And you know, one of the biggest shows I'm looking forward to actually is the Muskie show, where that's going to be upcoming. And Pete Mena and you know what he does, it's just pretty unique. So yeah, really excited about the show this season, right? Yeah, this season it's gonna be cool.
That seems like a bit better of a fish.
Well, we kind of moved around a bit, tried to check for some different spots. Water temperature's consistent. We cannot find 50-degree water temp right now, which I'd love to find, but it just is what it is. So we kind of slid back out here into that 6 to 8 foot range again, and right where we left them, there they are. We're back catching some of these metro area finest. Get in. Got one that looks halfway like a fish. There he goes. Ate that hair jig. Again, no bait, right in the snout. Big old mouse on these things. Just pretty fish. You can see the hue. And everyone thinks that this time of year they're moving up to spawn. They're really not yet. That water temp is barely touching 50. They're just kind of staging. It's comfortable. It's warm. There's bait fish. Then they slide back out, and then they'll relocate. A lot of times main lake, up in timber, in the coontail, in the milfoil, and that's when they're spawned. So this guy, he's just hungry, eating the shallow water. See you, bud.
I can film the Fletcher's part too. Just talk about the nice part of hunting.
There's one. Shot it right out here off that first break. Nice, healthy, already getting fat. Look at the belly on that thing. Eating the minnows, eating those pin minnows, and that's what we're imitating with these hair jigs, is these pin minnows. And there you go. Got a nice crappie, big mouth. See you, bud.
Use a bobber. I'm like, I don't want to use a bobber. Put a bobber on and catch a fish.
Taking off day one. You know, we spent a bunch of time out here chasing down some fish. A lot of smaller fish. Brian's got a few in the tank that he's gonna have for dinner, so there's some missions accomplished. Water's cold still. Hopefully tomorrow is a little warmer day, and we're gonna change approaches, try a different section of the lake. It'll be just a couple of us tomorrow. Today we're with the Clam marketing team, and we're going to get after it tomorrow and really chase them down and hopefully put a big one in the boat. Whew. Still cold out. Day two chasing springtime crappies in Minnesota. Hey, the sun's out, but it's colder than yesterday. We're gonna change our approach today. Maybe do a little more run and gun, change the type of spots we fish, and see if we can put a big one in the net. So day 2, we're changing our approach. Day 1 was fun. We caught a lot of fish. I don't know how many we caught, but a lot of them were small, and we fished kind of a main lake, center bay, warmest water we could find. But today we're going to try and find some bigger fish. We're going to jump back into some of these cuts. You can see some of this dirtier water. You're going to see some of this pencil reeds behind us. That water warms up a little faster. We're looking for warm water in these cold conditions. I'm going to rig up a new setup here. I'm using a fixed float, and I'll show you how I'm catching these crappies. You can use a variety of different floats. This just happens to be a mini Stealth from Thill. And this can be used as a slip bobber as well. That line just goes through that opening, but I'm gonna fix it, and I want to show you how I do that. But I gotta get a hair jig on there first. My son, Jack, actually makes these things. I can't tie them. I tried it. I'm horrible at it. I got glue all over my hands. But these young kids nowadays, they're getting into this stuff. So throw on a new hair jig here. Color doesn't seem to matter a ton, but I'm gonna throw on pink, white, and black. Gotta love hair. A little bit of marabou goes a long way. You bass guys and gals out there watching this know exactly what I'm talking about. This exact jig, all black, a little bigger, smallmouth candy. But today we're feeding the crappies. I got that hair jig on there. You can see that. Again, now I had that bobber on here we talked about. Right now it can slide anywhere up and down the line, which is not what I want. I'm actually gonna take 2 BB split shot, and I'm gonna fix that float, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that and why I think it's so effective on these panfish. So you take that float, you find your desired depth, and I first start by putting one down below. Again, this is just a little BB split shot, super inexpensive. Crimp that on the line. So you can see this bobber right now is still free moving. It'll stop at that bottom split shot. So what I do is I find the depth I want to fish, and I'm going down about 3.5, 4 feet. So I'll slide that split shot right about there. So that's as far down as that bobber can go. Now I take my other split shot and I'll show you here, peg it above that now. So now that bobber can't go anywhere. Now that split shot, what it does, it serves multiple purposes. I can cast this setup further because I have some weight. It also puts that bobber right in the water column so that just about that much of that bobber is all I'm seeing. So these fish are so finicky this time of year when the water's cold. They come up and they just barely tap it, and that float starts to sink, or sometimes it just wobbles and moves a few inches. That's your fish. If you don't see that strike, just like a spring bobber or a noodle rod with ice fishing, if you don't see that strike, you're not catching that fish. And if you notice, I have no weight between that hair jig and the float. That allows this thing to just slowly fall through the water column, giving this fish ample opportunity to swing over and pick it up. So pretty sweet setup, and away we go. That's how we're gonna chase down these crappies. Just like that. On the first cast with that smaller jig, boom, we pull up Mr. Crappie. Not a big one, but we're starting to come across the pattern here. And let's see if that was a fluke. If we can get the sun to stay out, they'll bite again up here. There he is, hooked up. Finally took that. Man, I had to dang near force feed these things. And there you go. Metro Tonka crappie. Not a giant, but hey, if you're looking for a meal, that's pretty good. There we go. Fish on. Barely bumped him, that's why. Just a rat. Just a little slabber. non-mega. There we go. Ate that one right away that time. That's still a little guy. Did I just catch him? Maybe they'll turn on now. Try a different angle. Look at that. There's the angle with the dangle. A little bigger. He thinks he's a bigger brother. Oh, there we go. There's a bite mark on that guy. Something tried to eat him at one point in his life. It's weird that these fish slid out. Nope. Me neither. I mean, I'm literally, that bait's like in 18 feet of water right now, and I'm 3 feet down. And there they are. This one feels like a little better. He's actually pulling. What do we got here? Oh, look at that. Halfway decent crappie. This pattern changed big time. And what we're doing is we're actually casting, we'll let this guy go. We're casting out over deep water 3 feet down. And I'll tell you what, not a pattern I would have expected here when you're seeing these type of conditions. And we're literally casting about 20 feet of water out there. And we're just working that bait 3-4 feet below the surface, and for whatever reason these fish pulled out and they're eating not far into the surface over deep water. This is the weirdest pattern, dude. I'm not gonna lie. If you asked me, it would be fixed floating 3 feet down in 17 to 20 feet of water. No way. That just tells you that that surface temperature must be that much warmer than the stuff down below.
That's what's crazy, like ice fishing when we're on. Like when we were filming the
He wants to fight hard. And just a scrappy little fighter.
A lot of heart.
A lot of heart. Yep, that guy's got the heart of a lion, but the body of a Minnetonka crappie. So we've made about 10,000 casts trying to catch a big crappie. Got a bunch of them, but still no big ones. We're just not getting a break in the clouds long enough to warm up this water. And it's funny, the pattern we found is, I think, quite comical. They're out in about 18, 20 feet of water, 3 or 4 feet down. And that's pretty much where we're catching most of our fish right now. So hopefully we get some warmer weather, they slide up, some bigger ones bite. Yeah, you know, on Tonka and many lakes this time of year, springtime, I mean, it's generally an action bite. It's a numbers game. You know, you can get some big ones here and there, but the bigger ones for me generally show up right around that first week of May, and that's when they move in for spawning movements. But right now you're looking for action, activity, having some fun, getting the gear broken in, and that's what we're doing today. We're catching a pile of fish, having a good time. And if you want food, hey, you can fill the live well, no problem on days like this. There's one. Feels decent. Bigger. Here you go, buddy. Oh, we're looking at a crappie. Not a giant one, but hey, we'll take it. Took that hair jig right in the snout. And again, this pattern that we've stumbled across is to focus on shallower structure that should hold these fish this time of year. But since it's so cold, all these fish have slid out. And we're actually catching them in deeper water, suspended. And that one took the bait. Pretty looking fish. Thanks, buddy. Oh. Here's a good one. Oh, yeah. Big enough to lip anyway. Sun peeked out just momentarily. And that guy decided to chow. Beautiful fish. Minnetonka slabber. See you, bud.
Kind of what the story of today's been, right?
We just finished 2 days of chasing springtime Minnesota crappies in some pretty interesting weather. Big cold front, 20 degrees each morning. We got some snowflakes. We had fun, man. We caught a pile of fish. We had the team from Clam Out, the marketing team there, and we caught, I don't know, a few hundred fish. We definitely would have had one heck of a nice fish fry and filled the freezers. We didn't get any big ones. That's okay. That's how fishing goes. You can't predict the weather, and you can't predict these rapid changes in weather. You know what? The best is yet to come, though. So if you're a springtime crappie angler, I'll tell you what, you're about to catch some of the best fish you've had all season here the next few weeks as things warm up. We need some warm weather. These 30s and 40s got to get behind us so we can see true springtime crappie fishing. So had a lot of fun. We caught our fish generally shallow. We targeted them in shallow weeds 6 to 8 feet on day one, and we were using plastics and hair jigs underneath bobbers. Day 2, we changed things up, found some back cuts, did fish some deeper water, but again, these fish were relating to that warmer surface temperature, that warmer surface temp water, and again, we were fishing with hair jigs. We did throw some small ice jigs at them to catch some fish. Otherwise, we caught a lot of fish, had a lot of fun, learned some stuff. I learned a new pattern, which I thought was super cool. We were catching fish 3-4 feet down in 20 to 22 feet of water. And we actually joked about it. Let's go fish those 20-foot pattern. And it was kind of interesting how we caught some of those fish. So had a blast. You know what? You got to see me host and introduce this very first The Bite series from Clam. But you're going to see me often throughout the year as we introduce some of these other episodes as we take you to bites across the entire country, chasing some of the coolest bites in open water and ice fishing this next year. So make sure you tune in and follow along with The Bite and find out what some of these pros are up to and how they're catching their fish and what bite they're on.